Like for me, what I really want to touch on is like the injury perspective, where especially I would say between like 12 to 15 years old, where these kids are just being overthrown like crazy and they're playing way too much.
And not fall in desperation as well, because that mind state can lead to too many mistakes, can lead to overuse, can lead to stress levels, can lead to quitting the sport.
Yeah. Welcome back to the AOP podcast. My name is Art Salazar. I'm the CEO of AOP.
My name is Fred Arias. I'm the pitching performance coordinator of AOP.
And we're sitting now in the newly renovated AOP. If you guys haven't seen that, we'll put a little link so you guys can check out the video tour of our new space. And we just wanted to start off the video by thanking the audience, everybody that watches us here and supports us in person. And even if it's just supporting us on Instagram, like we really appreciate the support. Without you guys, we wouldn't be able to have this facility that we're sitting in. And, you know, kudos to everybody. Thank you for listening.
Yes, I think you said everything, dude. It's been an incredible journey so far. It's been an incredible bunch of people helping this project, giving us support, listening at the podcast, give us some comments and replies on Instagram and all that. And that actually shows how important it is for people to, listen to guys like us and all that. It's really important to keep sharing our thoughts and everything that we can share to the world. And like I always mention to people, you take care of the people, people will take care of you.
100%.
Yeah, 100%. So guys, we really appreciate you guys. None of this will be possible without your help.
Absolutely. Preaching to the choir, Fred. And
yeah.
I think that's a good pivot into what we want to talk about today, which is something that we take pretty personally and not in a provocative way, but just something that we wish more families, parents, and kids by extension were more consistently open to. The topic being like how we feel parents are basically sabotaging kids in a lot of scenarios. And so we can just kind of get right into examples if you have one.
Okay, let's start with this. As a person, you don't want to eat an uncooked meat. Mm-hmm. You want to eat a meat that is cooked on the proper way. You want the chef to take a time to make a good seasoning, put the fire at the right temperature, take a time to whatever is the termination of the meat to be done in the proper way. So as a parent, as a dad or mom of a young athlete, I think you should take the same approach with your son. You don't want to rush any process on developing a youth athlete ever, because that is going to lead us into more long-term problems than short-term results. Does that make sense? For example, you want your kid to get 30 pounds in 2 months. To do that, you actually needs to shock your body very, very hard. And usually when you do that, you don't get the result that you're looking for by gaining weight. You just get fat, you just get slower, you lost hormones, proper hormones level and conditions. You lost power, you lost a lot of things that comes with that shock on your body of putting 30 pounds in 2 months. Mm-hmm. So just for a quick sample, if the goal is for a young athlete to gain some weight, you should manage that plan in a proper timeline that can allow the body to adapt to the new changes and embrace it, and instead of deny it, accept it and use it for the sake of whatever the sport requirement that athlete to do.
For sure. Yeah, and I think you can take that out further and use that basically in any example where kid has an injury, kid is underdeveloped, kid doesn't know how to do X, Y, and Z. A lot of the times they are just surrounded by an environment where people are telling them that it should be faster than what it is, or that they should be able to do something faster than what the timeline is right now currently as it stands. And that's not always beneficial to the kid because it's just not real. The reality is a lot of the times, I would say 98 out of 100 times, it takes a process, you know, and like even if you're just looking at it from a velocity standpoint, if a kid gains velo, great. Okay, but just gaining it is one thing, holding it is the other, being able to actually do something with it is the other, you know, and like just hitting it once is hitting it once, you know, and like that's just talking solely about velocity, you know, and it's just we see it so often here where, you know, like for me, what I really want to touch on is like the injury perspective where especially I would say between like 12 to 15 years old where these kids are just being overthrown like crazy and they're playing way too much and expecting way too much of their body. And then you ask them what they're eating to tie in the eating, and they're like, oh, I eat cereal for breakfast. I'll have like a ham sandwich for lunch, and then I just eat whatever's there for dinner. And then they're practicing 5 days a week, training 2 to 3 hours a day, not sleeping that good. And then they wonder why they're getting hurt.
Yeah.
And a lot of parents just basically pretend like that part doesn't matter, when in reality, that's probably the most important thing out of this entire process. And like, as you see the guys get older, it can't just start mattering when you're 17. Like, okay, now we're going to turn on the switch. This is something that you're either going to be doing since you're young or not, and you're going to be very behind or you're going to be very ahead. I feel like there's just no in between. And none if you want to comment on that.
Yeah, like, and this not only goes into the tools development process of this, it goes in the entire development process of every single attribute that's around an athlete. Let's say for performance, like it's really easy to fall in desperation and frustration of a 14, 15, 16 years old kid performance. Even if it's inconsistency, even if it's so far it's not been the greatest performance graphic, you got to understand that I haven't here a single great athlete that is being like great in everything in his entire sport career. Like that thing doesn't exist. Like there's always like learning processes. There's always process of getting better, understanding this new level of playing whatever sport you're trying to play. Let's say for baseball, you go from middle school to high school. I can tell that there's some kind of like adaptation to that process, to that game. You start playing in a bigger field. You start pitching in a 60 feet mound. You start facing guys that you might be 15, but they might be 18. And they can hit your 80, 79 fastball like they're hitting changeups. Then you got to do PSP with guys that are faster. Then you got to compete with guys that are stronger and all that. So it's easy to fall in that desperation as a parent. But we got to sit down and think, like, if that is something that is going to help the kid to focus on the process and not fall in desperation as well, because that mind state can lead to too many mistakes, can lead to overuse, can lead to stress levels, can lead to quitting the sport, can lead to decreasing the level of confidence that individual has on himself and the skills that he can perform at the sport level. Can lead to so many things that actually impact his journey. Actually impact. You might have a kid that has a potential to be a pro one day, but because he's not throwing strikes, he's not punches ticket right now at 15, 16 years old, you fall in desperation and you expect that kid to be Garrett Cole or something like that.
Yeah.
That doesn't happen overnight. That is a process. It might be the case that your son is way talented. He just need time to develop that talent and be out of competition so he can learn a little bit on himself, like who I am, what I can do to do what I can do well more consistently into the field. But that doesn't happen on the competition environment because there's competition. In the moment that you fail, your confidence goes down right away. So you're never gonna have time to know yourself and learn how to be consistently good if you don't get off that competition environment.
Yeah, and I'm like thinking about everything that you just said, and there's so many good points. Like, let's just start with what you were just saying right now about like the kids that never get out of the competition phase, and it's just like a constant roller coaster of emotions where they're really good and then they're not good and then the environment outside of that where parents have unrealistic expectations where, oh, well, we see that 15-year-old throwing 6 pitches for strikes. Okay, well, he might be a first rounder, he might be something special, or he just might not be right. He maybe not doing the right thing, and it's like not about comparing one to the other. It's let's focus on what's in front of me. If you're a parent, if you're a kid, just focusing on your career. And it really, in my opinion, I don't know how you feel about it, I feel like 9 out of 10 times it just doesn't turn out well.
Yeah,
like you're on the pathway to failure if that is the way that you view everything, and like something that we always joke about here is kids that are like very underdeveloped worrying about the minutia of pitching when they can't even do the main thing, which is, okay, sure, pounding the zone, everybody needs to pound the zone. But are you even at the average level for a kid your age? If you're way underdeveloped for a 13 or 14-year-old, you shouldn't be worried about how do you throw a curveball, a slider, and a changeup to try to offset the fact that you're underdeveloped. How about you take a step back and figure out how do I become not underdeveloped, and then we can look at all these other things after that fact is done, and if you're not going to take baseball serious, then okay, that's fine. But a lot of the times these kids, the families, are attempting what they think to take baseball serious, and it just becomes not focusing on the things that matter. And before you know it, like you were touching on, it ends up hurting the kid, and the kid never gets to really see. And we'll have kids that maybe can be pros and that end up not wanting to play baseball anymore, and they're just put in bad environments, and they don't know how to handle the failure of baseball because baseball is the game of failure, and it's sad to watch it from our perspective, because all we can do is sit here and try to educate and share from our perspective, our experiences, the time that we've been around the game. That not that let's speak in an absolute that we're right and we're never wrong, but the experience we have, and usually what the industry says is this, that when you're trying to focus on these things, you're not going to end up where you hope and dream you think you want to go. And that's the other flip side of this now too, is a lot of the times parents will be told this is the way, that we think it should be done, whether it's coming from us or anybody else that's in baseball. And a lot of the times parents just don't want to listen. They don't want to hear it because either they're living through the kid, they think they know better, they think that it needs to be this way or that it should be this way, really with no backing or reasoning other than just, I don't want to use the word arrogance, but that's really the only word I can think of. That, if you're going to pay to, let's say, come to a training environment, why wouldn't you allow the opportunity for them to do what it is that you paid for? Whether it's here or if you're out of college questioning, let's say, what the pitching coach and a trainer have in store for a recovery program, that they're saying you need 12 weeks to return to throwing and it's week 5 and you're demanding to throw a bullpen. Or kids that are, let's say you had tendonitis and the doctor clears you, you know, whatever that means, and the parents will just want to force the kids right back into throwing, and the kid knows they can't throw, but they have no power in the situation because they're a child dealing with an adult, and you're just never going to win, you know. And it's frustrating because then it becomes my kid's not going to get better, you know, what about this, what about that? Well, yeah, they might also never be healthy, you know, like it's a never-ending battle, you know. And like if you want to add on that.
Yeah, but at the same time, it's like, it doesn't mean that what we're saying is do not care of or having a winning competitive mentality, like short-term result-driven mentality is different. It's different. I personally think that as a person, as a human being, you can do everything on at least 7 to 10 scale of greatness. Let's say for a baseball player, you can be a competitive pitcher in whatever level you're playing right now. If you're not, that means that it's something that you need to work on, or a few things that you need to work on in order to become competitive in that level. Example, you got a freshman kid, 15 years old. He got the opportunity to pitch in varsity or JV, and he's walking people, he's not throwing hard, he's getting raked, blah, blah, blah. It doesn't mean that that kid sucks. It means that he needs to work on improving so many points in order to be competitive. How you going to improve those points not getting out from that competitive environment? That is not going to happen. You need to get out of that competitive environment, sit down with a clear mind and emotions. Okay, I'm not competitive because X, Y, and Z, you know. Let's make a roadmap. First of all, you need to get proper access. You need to get assessed. You need to get a proper assessment process by professional or people that they know what they're doing. They know what it takes to improve from the point that you are right now. And after that, you need to set up a proper timeline goal plan for, okay, let's start improving point A. How I'm going to improve point A? Okay, we're going to start by doing this, and that. Okay, at this time, should I be taking a step in this direction? And then once you're master point A, you can move to point B, and then move to point C. Depends on those points. Obviously, the time on this plan is going to be very variable. So there's no room for development process error during competition. It's just you can perform or not perform. You can be helping the team or not helping the team. That's it. And if you're not helping the team as a pro, you're gonna lose your job, and that's simple. As a guy that you're not getting paid for playing a sport, there's nothing wrong with that, kid. If you're not being competitive, just like go sit down with your coach, sit down with your parents, go to a professional. Okay, I'm not being good at baseball because of this, and that. I need help, and I'm going to take time to work on that and be better at baseball. It's simple as that. So, guys, I really, really recommend you to spend time from competition to work and figure it out yourself as an athlete. And have a clear plan and realistic plan. Realistic plan, but clear. And go attack that plan. Try to be better. Try to improve those points that is going to make you competitive at the level that you're playing right now. But it's key. Pros do it all the time. College guys do it all the time. Every single person that is playing a sport with purpose, they do it all the time. As simple as that.
Absolutely. And then, like, that is it. Like you just said, it is literally as simple as that. Looking at it like this, if you're lost and you don't know where to go from that, is if you're a high school or a college kid, you're playing the season ends, there's really no reason, I would say, in 80% of cases for you to continue to play into the summer unless your coach is telling you, that it's mandatory because there's some valid reason for that, or you were injured during the year and that's going to be your return to play protocol that you didn't get to play during the season, or maybe you were a red shirt during the year, But aside from that, this is the only real opportunity you get to control your destiny as far as what you get to do with your career for a 3 to 5 month period, depending on who you are. For the youth, you're playing tournaments every weekend. 9 out of 10 of you, 98 out of 100, 95 out of 100 of you play tournaments every weekend, 2 to 3 times a month. Okay, well, so when does that stop? Like like you just mentioned, guys are not playing 11, 12 months out of the year. So there needs to be a point where you take a step back and either take a break from playing, and just train, or actually just take a little break. Yeah. There's nothing wrong with that either.
There's nothing wrong.
And analyze, okay, I've been playing for the last 9 months, 12 months, 15 months in a row, and I'm the same player or worse, or I'm in pain or this or that. How am I going to fix it? Well, really, your only option is to step away from competition and hopefully surround yourself with people that know what they're doing, have done it before, and can help take you where you want to go. And so with that, pivoting into that, this is the summertime is here. Today is April 11th. Really the summer hits for the beginning group of guys when the JC kids finish in about 2 to 3 weeks. And then from there, it's go time, where this is where a kid can change his career. Mm-hmm. I want to give a special shout out right now to a kid that he just popped in my head, but a perfect example, Johnny Morales. So he's at Santa Ana College. He was 83,
topping 85.
Occasionally, mainly sitting 83, 84. The kid now is 88, 92.
Yeah.
Topping 3, I think.
Yeah, topping 3.
He accomplished all of that during the summer. I think maybe he grabbed one more mile in the fall period, but he left the summer throwing topping 92. And so for a guy to go from that level to basically the top tier level for a junior college kid, that doesn't mean that that's going to happen with everybody. But that kind of growth can happen with you. If you're a kid throwing 74, you could leave the summer throwing 84. Mm-hmm. You could be a guy that's 88, 94 and doesn't leave throwing harder, but now you have a better understanding of your pitch shapes. You understand how to recover better, how to optimize your performance. Maybe you added a pitch. You just learned something about yourself that you were not able to accomplish during the season. So I implore all of you, players, parents, coaches, to keep that in mind when you're thinking about your kids or yourself and what are you going to do over the next 3 to 5 months. You have the opportunity to change your career, truly. And if you're thinking about maybe getting the chance to go to college and you want to put yourself in front of people, this is the only real chance you're going to have for the rest of the year to make a gigantic change in your career. So don't miss out on it, please. And add anything on that.
And that applies for every single part of tool development for an athlete. Let's say that you need to gain a different breaking ball. You need time to fail testing different grips. You need time to fail testing different shapes and way to throw a breaking ball until you find something that you can stick with it. But that is not going to happen during competition time, because your coach is going to say, your slider was not good today, you're not throwing sliders today, or your slider is good today, but it's not being good for 3 months. So, take a step back and try new things. Get assessed by a professional. Work with someone that can help you to find something that is proper for you. can help you how to gain stamina, can help you how to throw more pitch in the strike zone, can help you how to control emotion, can help you how to control competition, or can help you how to fire up yourself at moments, can help you with so many aspects. You're not going to find that in a competition environment. So just a step back, kid, and get better yourself. Just get better.
Get better. That's it. We're going to close out on that. You know, any questions you guys have on the summer or what kind of path you can take, you can find us on Instagram at The Art of Pitching or on the website at theartofpitchingcorp.com. You can contact us there, and we'd love to talk more and go in more detail and maybe get the chance to meet you in person. But aside from that, thank you guys for listening. If you're still here, click that like button, subscribe, comment any questions you guys have, and we'll talk with you guys soon. Thank you.
All right. Thank you, guys. Lock the fuck in.
Lock the fuck in.